Next up, moving into hockey, we're going to go talk about the PWHL jerseys. We're a little bit behind it. We're a little bit late to the party. I think, Caleb, you just told me that you think that these came out about a month ago, which is probably a safe bet. I think it's been a little bit since these came out. But we thought, because you guys seemed to like us doing a obnoxiously long tier list last week, why not do it again, but hopefully just a wee bit shorter. There's a lot less jerseys to rank this time. There's only 12 compared to 30. But yeah, it should be a lot better this time, I think. And we're going to be getting things underway with, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Quebecers. The Montreal Victoire, or as it's pronounced, or translated in English, I believe Victory. I don't know whether they're going to be just calling them the Victory or if it will be Victoire. I don't know.
It'll probably be Victoire. I mean, that's the name. It'll be something we'll probably have to get used to.
That's true.
As non-francophones, but
that's a good thing.
I'm sure it'll eventually become part of the hockey lexicon.
Yeah.
The French.
I apologize regardless. I apologize regardless. I do think it's.
I was gonna say I do think it's kind of corny to just name your team Victory, no matter what language it's in, but I digress.
No, and the funny thing is I don't hate the jerseys. Obviously, we've got both home and away, as you can see on the screen here. If you're listening on the podcast, I was going to say, I'll put the warning now. Maybe come over and join us on the YouTube for this one. This is definitely more of a visual podcast, I will say, or a visual segment. We're going to be looking at a lot of images. I'll make sure to size them up on the screen for all the people watching here so that you can join in and kind of figure out where you want to put them on we didn't even go down our list of rankings. Obviously, our S tier, also known as Michael Penix Jr., then it's really good, mid, pretty bad, really bad, and then the fucking Raiders. Well,
you don't want to be in Raiders.
You don't want to be in the Raiders. If you're in the Raiders, you got to fire your designers. But regardless,
you've got issues.
Let's talk about Montreal here. And I think we're starting obviously with the home. And Caleb, what do you think? I already said I actually don't. I like them. I think they're pretty nice, but what do you think?
So, again, I think naming your team just Victory is pretty corny. However, other than that, these are so clean. This it's honestly a little bit disappointing to me because I think we're starting off with the best jerseys in the PWHL.
Oh.
I love the color scheme. The color scheme is fantastic. Like, I just think those colors play off of each other really well. I love the kind of like retro, almost like it almost gives me like a bit of a steampunk kind of vibe from the logo. I don't know. It's just like all the elements of it complement the team's kind of brand identity really well. If we're just starting with the home jersey, and we'll get to the away jersey in a second.
Yeah, we're doing them separate.
I think I would put. So I think I do think, as a kind of point of comparison, because it's kind of hard to talk about one without the other, I will say I think the away jersey a little bit better. I really like I always like when teams kind of go with a bit of an off-white for their away jerseys. I'm not sure if that's a popular opinion or not, but I really like that. I think the home jerseys are also really clean, but the red kind of makes it feel a little bit more standard. I like how the off-white and the aways makes it feel a little bit more special. I'd probably, if we're just talking about the home, I still think it's really clean. I still think the color scheme is there. I still like the logo. Even though I don't love the name of the team, I'd still put the home jerseys in really good.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I was going to say, too. I think it deserves to be in really good. I really like the red. I like the dark blue shoulders. I think it really works with the logo, too. I don't necessarily disagree with your point on the name. I think it's probably going to be something that, depending on how the team does in future years, will either be a really cool name or really ironic. Yes. Depending on a lot of different things. You're certainly betting on yourselves. But I think it definitely has the chance to become something that's super iconic. I think that logo's super cool. I don't know. I like it a lot. I do agree with you though. I really like the away jersey, and the funny thing is, I get what you're saying about the off-white stuff. What I really like is when teams use like a gray, like a light gray, as their away jerseys. I think that looks super nice. And usually, when teams do exactly what Montreal is doing here, I don't like it. I'm normally not a fan of doing that. Like, I don't even know what would that be called? Like a vanilla really light brown color.
I think teams always call it like bone. It's like
Yeah,
a sharp bone color.
There you go. I normally don't like it. I do in this case. I will say I'm just noticing this now. Not a fan of the purple and blue lettering on the arms. I don't know if that's in the image you're seeing, Caleb. I don't know if that's just when that looks like a mistake. I hope that's a mistake.
Well, that might also just be the PWHL logo, maybe.
That is
if I'm looking at what you're looking at.
That's a number 3.
Okay, maybe I'm not seeing the same thing you are.
There's the lettering like on the arm, like right here, is like purple and blue. It could just be because they got like an earlier style. I hope that's not the numbering they go with. I don't know why they would. That's not their colors at all. I'm hoping it's just like, some sort of. I'm sure it's just some sort of mistake. Regardless, I would put it really good. I do not agree with you. I don't think it's the best jersey in the league. Looking at the rest of them, I think that there's some other really good ones. I'd put it above the home jersey and really good. But if you want to, if you're dead set on having
I would be all for putting it in Penix tier.
Okay.
Because looking at the rest of these jerseys, I don't have one that's better than the Montreal away jersey, in my opinion. I'm looking at the lettering. I don't know if this helps. It does look like there's a very light blue outline on them. Yeah. But past that, it doesn't look too intrusive.
You know what? Now that I'm looking at it again, that might be a red. I might just be colorblind. I don't know. Who cares?
There is I have a better image here, and it does look like it's a light blue outline on the away jerseys, and then the darker blue outline for the numbering on the home jerseys.
Yeah,
which I'll agree I don't love, but it does not take away my opinion of the jerseys, quite honestly.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. It's still nice. But moving on, we are going to be looking at, I believe, that is the Boston Fleet coming up next year. Yeah. And I honestly, I don't know how you feel about these, Caleb. I really like them. I think I really like the logo. I think more than anything. I think that carries it a little bit here. I like the B. I like how it's an anchor. I think that's a really, really cool logo to have. It's like a kind of sideways whalers. I like it. It looks very new. It looks like it's the rest of the jersey is kind of generic in like the styling of it. They don't do anything too flashy. They I don't know. I personally, what do you think? Before I say where I think it should go.
Well, I mean, I'm with you on they kind of. I take a little bit of points off for originality because they really did just take the Whalers logo and shift it sideways. So I think that takes it down a notch for me. But I still think it's really good. I mean, if you're gonna rip off a logo, you might as well rip off one of the better logos that we've seen in sports in the last few years, right? The Whalers logo is a classic, and Boston and Hartford are not very far apart geographically, so it makes sense to steal from the same kind of area, especially Whalers Fleet going after the same kind of idea. I think it's smart in how they were able to connect it into a B, so it still works. So I also really like the logo. I normally wouldn't like the kind of green color scheme, but I think it works. The away jersey, the only thing I'll say about that is I think it's a little too close to Dallas. Like, it looks like a Dallas jersey to me, but just with a little bit of teal, and I don't know how I feel about that. But I really like these jerseys. I also think they're some of the better ones. I'd probably. This is a tricky one.
I will say, I will just throw this in here. I don't know how you feel about it. I like the away jersey more than the home. I think that's a really nice away jersey. Like, I get you. You think it looks like Dallas. I like it. I think it's really cool. I think it works really well with the logo. But the home jersey's not bad either. But to put one above the other, I would be putting the away jersey higher. Again, that'd be back to back.
I think I don't know. I think I'm gonna put for me. I think I'd put the home jersey in good, and I'd be strict about it. I'd put the away jersey in mid.
Really?
For me.
Okay.
That's a very I think it's borderline. I'd be borderline putting them both in good. So if you feel strongly about that, feel free. But I do greatly prefer the home jersey just because I think the teal pops a lot better and feels more intentionally used in the home jersey, whereas in the away jersey it feels more like it was just kind of used to keep the color scheme consistent, where it's just kind of awkwardly placed on the collar. Like, especially looking at some of the action shots they have of the home jersey, I think it looks nicer than the away jersey. So I think that's where I differ. I'd put it in mid, but it's very borderline for me. If you
you know what? I'll let you put the home jersey in front. I think they both should be in good if we're gonna be.
That's very fair.
This next one coming up, I believe. Yep, this is the New York Sirens, which I really don't know how to feel about the logo looking at it right now, to be honest with you. Instantly, my immediate thought is I'm not really a fan of it. They're kind of, I don't even know. It's obviously like the New York orange, like New York Knicks orange, kind of. Like you can see what they're going for with it. I don't know. I honestly, from what I've been seeing online, I know a lot of people really like these jerseys. I don't know, man. I don't know. What do you think, Caleb? I don't know if I'm a huge fan.
I'm with the online majority.
Really? Okay.
I think these are really nice. I think the color scheme, especially of the teal and the orange, works really well. Especially for a New York team. Like, I feel like that's a really good color scheme for them.
Okay, but if you're going to go teal and orange, you got to go all in. Like, what's with the dark blue shoulders? What's with the dark blue shoulders?
Well, I think that complements it too. Do you think it would look better if it was all teal? Like, I don't think so. I think it's distributed well. I think it's a very well composed jersey.
I think it would have looked better if they just did something different with the shoulders. I don't like the fact that it's dark blue.
I totally disagree. I think it still looks really nice. To talk on the logo too, I think the logo is also grown on me. I wasn't a big fan of it initially, but it's definitely grown on me. I think the way they put that together is really good. And a detail that you can't see on the pictures that we have on the tier list that I really liked in just doing some quick Google searches is how they did the numbers at the back of the jersey. I think that even moves it up a little bit. In terms of how they stylized that, it's unique. It's not just the numbers on the back. There's some styling there. I think that's really nice.
What do you prefer, the home jersey or the away jersey?
I greatly prefer the home jersey in this because I really like the teal, and I like the teal being a feature of that.
Can I just say, if you... Oh, where do you want to put it? Yeah.
I was just gonna say I'd put them in separate tiers. I would put the home jersey in really good with Montreal, but behind Montreal, and I would put the away jersey in good behind the Boston home jersey, but ahead of the Boston away jersey.
You know what I'd do? I'd put it there. I'd put it. I actually
That's
like.
Fair. That's
yeah,
fair.
I like Boston's away jersey more. And you know what? For me, it's mainly the logo. Honestly, like I love that Boston logo. I think it's so cool. I think it's really well done. Are you getting kicked out?
Nope, but people are snooping my spot, and I gave them the look, and they walked away. So
they got scared.
They got scared off. They got scared off. They can't handle.
Oh, that dude's recording a podcast in there. We don't want to mess with him.
Yeah. He's got the blue snowball mic out. Run.
Anyway, moving on to what This is one of the more
Sorry, does
controversial.
Calgary have a team?
Yeah, this is one of the more controversial one, I think, because I remember when this came out, a lot of people were quick to go, "What the hell is that?" when the logo came out. Ottawa Charge, and what's funny in the article I'm reading, like bringing up all of the jerseys here, they even make the same joke you did. The Calgary Flames. Oh, excuse us. The Ottawa Charge jerseys. Yada 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 yada. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't like those home jerseys. I really don't. I don't think they're very good. The away ones aren't bad. I actually don't hate the away ones. I think the away ones look really good. But if we're gonna be docking points for originality, that's pretty dead on.
It's as blatant as you can be, especially even with down to the Scotiabank sponsorship.
Yeah.
Like I mean
replace the gray with like a black, and that white one's a Flames jersey. That white one's a Flames jersey. You could make the argument the red one is too, except that might be a bit too bright of a red. Like put black on that red jersey, and
the white one is basically
put some black on that red jersey and put some flags on the corners, and that's our 2010 jerseys right there. But I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Like I said, I vastly prefer the away jersey, but if we're docking points for originality, then I would
also say I greatly prefer the away jersey.
Yeah.
I don't really like either of them. I think, in my opinion, these are the worst. Again, because they look so similar to Calgary, and just because I don't necessarily know, like, especially knowing how Flames jerseys are as Flames fans, the gray is not doing them any favors here, and it feels like it really just dulls down the whole.
Why is the gray then?
Experience. I don't know. Well, I wonder if that was honestly just because if it was black, it would literally just be the Flames jerseys. Both.
No, but that's not even what I mean. What's the point in having another color there? You can make white, red, and yellow work, but then again, of course, I guess the argument you just made of then they literally are just Flames jerseys comes up again, right? So I mean, I don't know. I hate the gray. I don't think the gray is good. I just think that the white one uses the gray a lot better. I think the gray mixes a lot better with the white than it does with the pure red jersey. You know what I think would have looked really good with this Charge logo? Because truthfully, I don't think the logo's that bad. Go like a black jersey.
I don't love the logo either.
I never said I loved it. I said it wasn't that bad. I think it would have looked pretty okay with a black jersey. That would be my opinion.
Yeah. I would like a black home jersey.
Yeah. None of the other teams went with a black. None of the other teams went with a black. It was there. I think they could have done it. I would say I'd put white in mid. I'd put it mid. I'd put red like it's floating around here.
I'd put it in pretty bad. I don't think it's enough to be really bad.
I wouldn't give it Raiders, because like truthfully, you know what?
No, I wouldn't either. I would say I would bump it up a tier. I'd say it's in pretty bad, not really bad.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's bad enough to be there.
Yeah.
Because the one other thing that I actually really like about these jerseys, is again the numbering on the back is really cool. Like, it's the same thing with New York, and I think this is even better than New York. They have the little charged lines that are coming off the end of the logo. They have those on the numbers, and I think it's really cool. And
Caleb,
just like seeing it from afar,
by bringing up all the things that won't be in the original photos I put up on the screen, you're making my life harder editing. But
you know what?
Whatever.
Okay. Editor Simon, I'm sorry, but you're fine. The one question I'll ask you before we move on is even just, this is going to be really shitty to show on camera, but like looking at their jerseys, before they got logos and everything,
right?
It's a very much darker shade of red, almost like a maroon. That would be a little close to Montreal, but I wonder, would that have worked better?
And they have black shoulders, don't they?
Yeah.
I would have liked that. That's not bad. I don't get why they went for this lighter tone.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Moving on, though. Next up, that is Toronto. The Toronto Scepters. And, I really like these home jerseys. That's my immediate thought.
Really?
Is just yes. I do you not? Are we on different sides of it for that? One?
I'll get to my. I'll let you give your opinion first.
Okay. I really like them. And you know what? For me, it totally is just the fact that I think it's a cool jersey. I think that it's pretty nice. I have no idea what Scepters has to do with Toronto. I've never been to Toronto. Maybe that's a dumb question. Toronto Arians or whatever, whatever the term is. Toronto Arians. Whatever.
Torontonians.
Torontonians. There you go. Whatever. If you want to inform my very uninformed ass in the comments, what Scepters has to do with Toronto, please let me know. But I really like the logo. I think it's very simple. I don't think it needs to be more advanced. It's got the T, it's got the S. You can tell it's a scepter. There you go. I think the jerseys are super cool. I think the blue works really well with the yellow. Again, with like, I don't get why all of these jerseys have dark blue shoulders. Like, I think Montreal had them. What was the Sirens had them. I don't get like why. Maybe it was whoever they had make the jerseys just wanted to have dark blue shoulders, I guess. But I don't really get why that's the case. I think it's kind of pointless there. But I don't think it ruins the jersey for me. I still think they're really nice. The away jerseys I don't like as much. I think they're a little bit barren. I think that the simplicity of the logo in the home jersey does not quite translate as well in the away one. I think it just kind of looks like there's just kind of a waste of space. There's a lot of white on that jersey. But yeah, I'll toss it over to you since I know you had a different opinion.
Yeah, although as you get closer to the end and as I've looked up a picture of it in more detail, I think my opinion shifted quite a little bit. The home jerseys, looking at it closer up, I think does a lot more for me, although for separate reasons for you than you, and that's because I really like what they do with the shoulders, and I really like the yellow collar specifically.
But if we're doing dark originality, why is there 3 teams out of 6 with dark blue shoulders?
I don't know, but it works, especially with this team where that's already a part of their color scheme. I'm not going to get mad about it.
You know what? That's fair. But that's fair. But this is me going back and picking at old jerseys at this point. But like, why? Why is that on other jerseys? It doesn't make sense.
I think, and the other ones, it works. I don't know. I think in all of the examples, it hasn't like bugged me or anything. At least not to the extent it's bugged you. Yeah. But no, in Toronto, I think my main quarrel is with the logo. You pointed out the exact reason why I don't like it, and that is it's very simplistic, and it just is like, other than Ottawa, which I think is just downright kind of not very good.
Yeah.
This one just borderlines on being not good by being too basic. To where like the Montreal logo and the New York logo and the Boston logo are all like not too complicated, but simple and elegant and still interesting.
That's fair.
The Ottawa logo feels gimmicky. This one feels too simple.
Can I just
like,
say
though? Not interesting.
I think if you take Ottawa out of the equation here, this is a league that has a lot of really good logos. Like, and it's funny.
Well, and really good jerseys.
Really good jerseys. That's a good point too. But I just want to say this in the sense of like, I think that when I really like this logo. I do think that, like I said, I don't think it works with the away jersey. But looking at it on the home jersey, I think it's really nice. And I think it really works in that sense because I think with a more complicated logo, that light blue jersey probably would have looked a lot more busy. And it would have looked a little less. I think it lends itself really well to that light blue jersey. It just doesn't work with the white one.
Yeah.
I feel like you got to put something else on that white one. But I think
I think so too. I think it's also because I feel like the yellow and the blue go a lot better together than the white and the yellow.
Yeah.
I think that's another reason for me, because I agree with you that I like the home jersey a lot better, and I think the logo is a lot better complemented on there. Before I give where I would put them in the tier list, I do just want to say before we move on from it too quickly to the point of all of these jerseys being really solid, especially in comparison to the NBA segment we did last week.
Yes.
This is props to the PWHL and validation for their decision to delay giving their teams names and logos until now. This is the reason why you do that, because when you take a look at these, you see how good the products turned out. That's the benefit of giving these designers a year plus instead of forcing them to churn something out for the start of their first season. So while it wasn't a decision I initially loved in their first season because it was so annoying to be like, PWHL Boston is playing PWHL Toronto, it's paying off here. And you can see that with the distribution, whereas in the NBA one, we're like having to wait until the end to get even like some above mid. There's barely going to be any teams below mid here.
Well,
it's very impressive.
And I want, obviously we're moving into the last two here. I don't think that there's really going to be, we'll see. But I will say, we'll see.
Keep the suspense.
But I think the home jersey for me, I know you really like these jerseys. I would be putting it in really good for me. Because I know you like the New York jersey, I won't put it above it. But if it was my list to show you where I am on this Toronto jersey, it would probably be right there for me.
Okay. I'm fine with putting it where you had before.
Okay.
I would be putting it in good behind the Boston home jersey. That's where I would be putting it.
Okay, so that's not that far off, actually. I thought you'd
It's not that far off.
Okay.
It's not that far off. Again, that home jersey especially really grew on me. The away jersey, though, I would put in mid just above Ottawa. I think you're right in that it doesn't really work. I would put it above Ottawa.
Yeah? That's so tough for me. I honestly, you know what? I'd put them like, that's a tie. I hate them for very similar reasons.
Close.
It's very close. Yeah. So I won't pick at it. But I think that's the biggest discrepancy for me between like the jerseys, because the thing is we have a lot of them very close to each other, right? Because Boston's right like lined up there, Montreal's obviously right at the top, Ottawa's very close to each other, New York is very close to each other. That's the biggest discrepancy right there. There's two. There's really good and then mid bordering on falling into pretty bad for me to me. Like it's just boring in my opinion. But moving on to the Minnesota Frost, and this is one that's gonna be really interesting. And I want to open this by just saying that I already know I'm gonna have a controversial take, knowing where I've seen it on other tier lists. Because I love purple jerseys in general. I
do too.
Well, then me and you maybe won't argue on this one, but I like them. I like them. I know other people don't. I know other people are not a fan of these jerseys, from what I've heard, and I'm trying to decide which one I like more. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I like both of them. What do you think?
I'm of the opinion I gotta get a closer view of the away jersey here.
Yeah.
I'm with you that I really like purple jerseys. I think, again, I think Toronto is a little bit worse at this, but I do think the logo is a bit simplistic. Like if I were to say like, give me the logo for a team that's name is Frost and colors are purple. The F with the icicles hanging off of it probably would have been one of the first ideas, and that's
a very
not a good
simple
thing.
name. Like
it is.
Yeah.
There's not a lot you can do with it, but it is simple. It works. It's not a bad logo. I don't want to get into it for that, but I don't know. Comparing it against some of the other logos like New York or Montreal or Boston, it's a tier below that for me. However, I do really like the color scheme of this jersey. I think the purple really works. I mean, I'm a big purple fan in general. Like, I just really like the color. To me, again, the Montreal and New York jerseys are the cream of the crop for me. Yeah. So this is kind of like, again, I think it's a tier below that for me. But I would, as this tier list stands right now, that Montreal home jersey would probably be in really good behind New York and above Toronto. If Toronto had moved down a tier to where I would have had it before, I also probably would have had it in that good tier, but at the top of it. I'm okay with putting it in a really good tier, though, with those other two teams. Okay. I think it's a really clean jersey.
Where do you think it's really good? Where do you
I'm okay with putting it above Toronto, but below New York.
For me, I'd be putting it above New York. But then again, You know what? Sure. I'll stick to what you said. We can go with that.
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of those New York jerseys.
Okay.
I'd fight for those over Minnesota.
Oh yeah. Okay. I disagree. I disagree, but I'll give it to you. I'll give the tiebreaker. But I with these away jerseys, the more I've looked at it, I have leaned on the fact I like the home ones more. I do too. Yeah, I think the home ones are better. That being said, I still think they're really nice away jerseys. I think that they are pretty sweet. I just think that, and it kind of reflects it in every single one, but a singular example, which is sitting in the Michael Penix tier currently. Most of these away jerseys just aren't terrific. Like, at least compared to the home ones. And I think that
which makes sense. That's supposed to be the case, right?
Yeah. I would put this, like, not there. That's probably where my brain goes. Although, again, you said you like the New York ones. Where do you fall on that?
I'm okay with where that's at. I'm not going to fight for it as much as I'd fight for the New York home jerseys.
Yeah.
If it were my list, I would switch those two, but I'm okay with leaving that where it is. I would have it in that same tier. That's an okay ranking to me.
Yeah.
Again, it's not that much different than the home jersey. Again, it's just not quite as exciting. There's not as much of a stark difference between the home and away like I find there is in Toronto or Montreal.
Yep, and there you go. We did it in 30 minutes this time. That's not as bad.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's not as bad. But regardless, the only team that really failed here is Ottawa, going mid and pretty bad. That's probably below a 50% right there. The only other team that, looking at it right now, that did somewhat, like the next up, would probably be Boston, because they have two teams in good. And
we like both their jerseys.
And that should, they're in good. They're sitting in the good category. So I think that should tell you something. Like, the only team that honestly has jerseys that just aren't great is Ottawa. The rest of these are really good. Like you said earlier, and I want to emphasize this, they did good. It was a good thing they made the decision they made to just go with PWHL Minnesota and PWHL Toronto for the start of the year, right? For the first year, excuse me. Because obviously it gave them time to make real identities and come up with what I think is really going to help them this year. I think having actual team names is massive. Having actual logos is massive. And now you're going to actually give fans a chance to really get attached to the teams. And it's going to be great. I'm super excited for it.
Again, yes, I agree. I think the lack of branding was probably their biggest issue in their first season. And I'm really excited to watch the league continue to grow with these, by and large, excellent jerseys and logos attached to them. So it'll be really exciting. I'm not sure when the season starts, but I'm definitely going to try to catch more PWHL action than I did before, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but I would be really excited to see PWHL expansion on the horizon. Well, that's why I'm saying I'd be holding out hope for a Calgary team or even a Seattle team to come to the PWHL, but that's obviously a pretty
that's further down
the road. Because otherwise I have no attachment to these cities. Maybe I'd become a Montreal fan just because of those jerseys. They're really nice.
I will say, and I want to emphasize because people are immediately going to jump on me for being a bandwagon. I said this before the teams were even announced. I just saw the purple jerseys and went, fuck yeah. My favorite team is Minnesota. I immediately just went, they are a purple team. I rock with that. Out of any of the teams here, if I'm going to get attached to any of them, it's going to be Minnesota. But I'm with you. If a Calgary team that comes in, that would be pretty huge. That would cause some issues though with Ottawa, because then if the Calgary team
find a new identity
if the Calgary team can't use red, what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah.
Literally every single team that Calgary has had in the last little while used red. So that I can think of anyway. I don't know. Maybe they'd come up with something. Maybe it's a chance to come up with something new and cool.
Maybe you use the black jersey that Ottawa didn't use, right?
Make some blasties. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd be for that. It's a good idea. Seattle would like. There's a lot of really cool opportunities. I hope this like I really am hoping that this league succeeds and it has succeeded so far. But I hope it continues to go down the path it's going on because I think they have a lot of really cool ideas we've talked about in the past with a lot of different rules that they're considering using. I believe it was the top team gets to pick their opponent instead of like stuff like that. I think that's so cool. I think that if they continue coming up with ideas like that, they're going to be around for a long time, and I'm all for it.